to Gem Collectors with Shawn, and I am raring to go today because, as all of you know, we had a bye week. Unfortunately, that wasn't planned. It's just the way it scheduled out. Doesn't happen often, but it did this time. Always look in the comment area because we sometimes can hide a little message in there, such as we did this time, that there wouldn't be a show, just so you wouldn't be looking for it all week. But we are going to make up with it today. I have really amazing things to get to. So that said, let's get to the comments, since we, of course, didn't have any from last week, but we do have trivia that we're going to actually play from the 2 weeks ago, since it wouldn't be fair not to. We haven't gotten in trivia much, and I miss it, I'm sure, as much as you do. So if you remember, or not, the questions: what family of minerals does labradorite belong to? So, of course, I would have accepted the real technical answer of plagioclase, which is a type of feldspar. It belongs to a larger group of, which is the feldspar. So you have, of course, oligoclase, microcline. The list, there's more feldspars than there is different families of garnets. And the labradorite one happens to belong to plagioclase, which is kind of odd because it can actually have that labradorescent sheen, or it can actually be of a clear facet grade quality with no type of adulorescence. That was question one. Question two was, that was it. Heulandite, mordanite, stilbite, celadonite, and oakenite. Which, if any, are zeolites? So out of those 5 different minerals I mentioned, it was name which, if any, I guess that's kind of important, is not a zeolite. So out of those 5, answer to that, it was a little tricky because it was more than one. It wasn't none, it wasn't one, it was 2 that did not belong. The real fooler, because I think we've gone over celadonite enough, that being green and seeing it on the back of almost every specimen in one form or another. It's a form of mica. You can kind of get an idea of the name when you see it by the color. For those of you, mostly women, I'm just going to be a little sexist there, are going to know of the color celadon. That's like, ladies, when you start, except for me, I might know a little bit more about colors only because we use them and sometimes very flamboyant names to describe different colors, like I always used for the color change diaspora would be from a strawberry green to a champagne yellow, or those kind of things. Get some name that sounds quite colorful. So celadon is one of those names, along with those other color names, that if you know it, it really fits well into a very small color range. And so the color was called celadon, and celadonite is from that. So if it's greenish type, funny green, then most likely it is a celadonite. Now, oakenite. Oakenite is the one that is, again, very much associated, like greenite is, with the zeolites, and hangs out with them and all. It even has a water content, but it does not have the crystalline structure that it takes. So the zeolite family, one thing you can always remember, and it'll help you, because you'll actually hear it used and just never realize how effective they are for straining out other different size type particles. Everything from oil sludge on the sea to nano-size microbiological size type of items. Because picture the zeolite crystalline structure like a honeycomb, a beehive honeycomb. And it is the particular different lattice and size of those chambers that act as a different mesh size to allow particles to pass through or not. And that's it, simplified. And they've been able to synthesize a lot of zeolites as well, which has helped. So, okay, those are the answers. Let's see who got the questions right. And let's see, we're going to start off with, or just comments. You don't have to answer the questions. Miss Jan says, hi, Shawn. Thank you for sharing your story about our dads. I have another one. You were talking about your mom writing backwards, maybe flashback to my dad who did that and other things with us kids. Not only did he write words, sometimes sentences, upside down and backwards, but he would draw the first initial of our names and add other lines to it to make, say, an animal face or shoe. So fun. I wish I could share those A&W pictures he drew with you. I have a little bit of creativity, but my daughter has some unbelievable artwork she drew, sketched, and painted. So lifelike from an early age of 2. I know some people are just born with it or not. And I kind of describe that as really some of different talents that you may not even know you possess. And, you know, certainly I can't draw but a stick man. But if you give me a drawing, and, you know, back in the days when we actually hand carved waxes compared to 3D printers now and CAD/CAM machines, but, you know, I could carve it out of wax. And if I can carve it in wax, I could carve it in stone, I could carve it in wood, etc. And I never knew I actually had the ability or talent to carve 3-dimensionally until there was a huge diamond sale made. It was a 4-carat diamond. It was like over $10,000. And this was, of course, 30, 40 years ago or so. And my wax carver was out of town, and it was on me because I was the one setting it. So they just looked to me to get the job done, and I had no one else to carve it, to be able to carve it. So I said, well, I'll give it a go. Sat down, carved it perfectly straight out of the gate. And it was intricate. It was center stone, a designer piece with channel set diamonds and other things in it. So, yeah. And from that point forward, I carved all my own waxes. But little did I know, and I'd already been a goldsmith for many years and a lapidary, that talent lay within me. So, you know, you may say, oh, I can't do that, but have you ever tried to do it? I think I always want, again, I think you heard me say, want to be to do the starving artist paintings. I don't know. I think I'd be a disastrous, but how do I know until I try, right? So I always describe some talents, though, like playing a musical instrument. I have a brother that could pick up a guitar and just play it like he'd been playing it all his life. Other people, of course, you know, can struggle for 10 years with an instructor and not get any further than somebody that just is born musically inclined. And that I know I am not. Anyway, I could go on and on, but you have a show to do. I just wanted to share that story. Thank you, Shawn, for having an interactive show for us rockhounds to gather and play. Looking forward to next week's show, which was actually 2 weeks. Then Miss Jan adds, by the way, I had notes on the tumbled moonstone I meant to ask you about last month. Are you planning to sell some? I'd love to see them and maybe even get one from you. Let's see if I remember to dig into my moonstone bag there for you, Miss Jan. Oh, wait. Just a little longer. Miss Cindy in Pennsylvania. Hello, Rock family. So many treasures this week, Shawn. I tried for the opal earring jackets, but they were gone, gone, gone. Congrats to whoever got them. I know. Those were another item that, well, I'm going to show you an example. I already told Lateef about it and showed him about just how good of a deal you can get on this show. We'll do that in a moment. So that's where I hate, like, for Miss Cindy to miss an item. I know someone else got a super deal, but someone else that wanted them, you know, I wish, but, you know, there's no multiples here for much. Unless you want some coprolites, we might be able to fix you up on some multiples of those. Jan, I remember as a child going to the A&W Root Beer Drive-In. We were in southern Wisconsin, just north of Chicago back then. It was a big treat when our parents took us there. Yeah, I still remember from Florida, we would mostly, when we traveled, we'd come across the A&W root beer shops. I still remember the old layout, just like the original McDonald's arches, huh? Answer, trivia, Feldspar Group, getting that one right. And Selenite is not a zeolite. You did well with that one, Miss Cindy. You just needed to add one more, but that was a great job. See everyone next week. Take good care of you. Cindy in South Central Pennsylvania. Mr. Anthony in Massachusetts. Hello, all. I'm actually still on the road, so to speak, but here in the U.S., an old friend talked me into coming with him to deliver motorcycles to people attending the bike rally at Sturgis, South Dakota. Who doesn't know about that? We are heading back now, but what a trip and a bit of culture shock from where I was a couple weeks ago in Europe. I'd say so. It's my buddy's turn to drive, so I'm getting a break. It's early Tuesday morning. Sun is just coming up on Interstate 90 near Chicago. Lots of things going on there. Unfortunately, I haven't been involved with Rocks or a Hobby, or that's Rocks and Hobby put together, Robbie, or Hobby, and I'm jonesing. You guys are my lifeline. I'm going to take a stab at the trivia. Labradorite is in the feldspar family, and all are zeolites except selenite, which is not associated with the zeolites. You are very correct. And I told you okanite would be the fooler. Yeah. Eyes down. Mr. Brad in Pennsylvania. I, again, talked to the Christie keeper about that particular item that you had mentioned, and it looks like it's still not available and or gonna be, but you certainly are the ones who will let know if it does become so. But I really appreciate you mentioning that. Yeah. Miss Elisa says, hello, Professor Shawn, the lovely Raven, GSN crew, and Rock family. Shawn, you really got us on the trivia. Sorry, must have been late sending in my comments last week, but I thought the first item was a type of garnet. It very well, exactly. Was it Miss Barbara that said that? Looked like topazolite and demantoid in those type of bicolor looks that the Madagascan ones were found in. Well, yeah, also, now that I think about it, the Namibian demantoids also had topazolite, and the green and yellow too. Also, I second what Brad said. He worded that perfectly. Thank you. My answers to this week's trivia are Plagiar clays, feldspar, celadonite, and okanite are not zeolites. Well done there. My favorite item of the week was the Australian honey opal. Take care, everyone, and have a good week. And so this is the note that we missed from the week before that Miss Elisa had sent. She said, hello, Professor Shawn, lovely Raven, GSN crew, and Rock family. Shawn, what a great show of fluorescent minerals. I appreciate the stories you share about some specimens. It makes adding those picture pieces to a collection a little more meaningful in my eyes. And so, remember, that was What Am I? And so the first one was grossular garnet, she said, and then smoky quartz with rutile, another really good answer, and then got the stibnite right, and then got the opal right, except for missing the synthetic part. So great answers there. Favorite item of the week was the pyrite sun. Take care, everyone, and have a fantastic week. Now, remember that show? I guess it was, 2 weeks? So it would have been like 3 weeks ago I did. Was it that long ago? Was I not serendipitous in presenting you with fluorescent minerals when the Rock and Gem magazine just came out? And what does it have on the cover? And what is the magazine primary topic about? Fluorescent minerals. Maybe I have it in with the editor, you think? The cover. So Raven and I looked at it and try to figure out what it is if it's something difficult. And she actually had a really good answer and said fluorite, because it had the on the cover of the magazine, because it has what is a square cube, but it was fluorescing a bright red. I thought it was maybe rhodochrosite, because again, it could be in that form, and rhodochrosite fluoresces a really bright red. I said, well, no, they would do more of a contrasting piece. And so they did, but almost not completely contrasting. In other words, it was Manganoan calcite. So it started off a little bit pink and then went to a beautiful bright red. Well, I have a piece of Manganoan calcite that you guys have passed up on. If we get to it, maybe we'll showcase it again today. But let me tell you, get in on the fluorescent minerals. I have another one or two I'm going to maybe feature, and you'll want to pay attention to them because the specimens are beautiful to start with, but then add other layers of depth to what the specimen gives you back in beauty, and that all you have to do is go to the closet with a inexpensive black light, and wow, you would be surprised. You can find other minerals in a piece that way also that you didn't know were there. Miss Barbara from Brooklyn says, hi, Professor Shawn, Raven, GSN crew, and the whole rock family. You got the old brain cells buzzing with the what is it? Congrats to Brad for getting so many. As you showed them all again, I would have sworn number one was demantoid with topazolite. But alas, no, it's sapphire. And the resin opal was a good lesson. Although GSN won't sell fakes, we needed to see some so we know what to avoid. Still trying to recall where that particular kind was displayed, like maybe an old book handle or hairbrush set on Antiques Roadshow. It'll turn up eventually. Can't mistake the weird cracked ice pattern and the combo of show-off colors. Nope. Madame Pele is the goddess of volcanoes on the big island of Hawaii who curses you for picking her lava and taking it home. Yeah, can't take that home. Stemming from my conversation about the Petrified Wood National Forest that I mentioned. And all the people that were struck down with bad luck from taking a one piece of petrified wood off there. They also had a stat that if every person that went through there took just one little piece of petrified wood home, how many tons a year it would actually deplete the forest. And yeah, when you see numbers like that, then it's of course shameful. And I can admit, never done anything like that. You don't have to. You want to know where to get some petrified wood? The interstate north of the Petrified Wood National Forest. I've told you before, I've sold it before. I've given some of it away. I stopped for it, speaking of changing drivers, when we were driving out to the Tucson show. Well, we weren't actually driving all the way out there. We flew into Santa Fe, New Mexico, rented a car, and just wanted to, see the scenery. And so we changed drivers just north of the Petrified Wood National Forest. And, that entire area can produce petrified wood due to the geology and similar geology. Well, when they cut the interstate through there, they must have broken through a large batch of petrified wood, because as soon as I stepped out of the car, remember, eyes down. If I was looking up, I'd either been run over or missed out. Eyes down instantly. It's like, ugh. And I started scooping up that petrified wood as quick as I could. It was everywhere. It wasn't like, just here and there. It was like the crushing run. It was and pieces, upwards of 3 inches across. Yeah. I'm really surprised that it was still there at all, because that could be one of the roadside geology spots to stop. And eventually, of course, they'd put up signs that you can't stop there. So let's see. I wonder if you tried Google Earth, would you be able to look at fantastic open pit mines like the Diavik holes between the lakes or a quarry just down the road? Has anyone tried that? Yes, I have. Of course I have. That's how I found many different old gold mines in Forsyth County. And there's something, of course, about sulfides and ore body gang material that comes out of these mines. So when they put them in tailings piles, 150 years later or more, not much often grows on them. It's not conducive to plant life growing on these kind of ore tailings. That's why in Colorado, you can just drive almost anywhere and look up on the mountainside and you see these just yellow, look like little anthill remnants, and they're old mine tailings. and which I'd been in, and when I lived in Colorado, I can't even tell you, dozens and dozens of those. I was quite adventurous. So in Forsyth County, that's how I would use it. I would zoom in and go over areas that I could access, like recreational areas or forested areas and whatnot. And I would look for the mine tailings. As small as they may be, it stands out as a bald spot in the forest looking above. And then I'd zoom in and try to determine if it was. And then I would just take off in the four-wheel drive truck and locate them to see if, and I've seldom been wrong. They've almost always been prospect holes or something to do with mining. And so that is a easy, and so yes, I actually looked at the quarries in the county as well, because you can, and it zooms in really close. I mean, if there was a big enough pocket in the sidewall of the quarry, I'd be able to see it. Thulia wood smells great because it's the genus that has cedar and the landscape favorite arbor vitae in it. As to the trivia, labradorite is in the feldspar family. Celadonite and oakonite pal around with zeolites like prehnite, but are not themselves zeolites. You're not going to get caught out on like you did on the prehnite, are you? Aaron Celestian of the Natural History Museum, LA, has been working on powdered zeolites to bond with and thus mitigate lead and other heavy contaminants from toxic waste sites. Cool stuff. What did I just say? That's exactly correct. We've had a lovely week between hurricanes. Cannot complain. Our reservoirs are full and local summer corn is cheap and sweet. Have a safe week. Oh, Miss Barbara from Brooklyn. Miss Penny says, hello, Shawn, the lovely Raven, amazing GSN crew and fellow rockhounds. I hope this finds everyone well. Number one, Plagios Clay's feldspar. Number two, all our zeolites. They could just as well have been, because I have described all of them associated with zeolites, and so it's easy to kind of lump them together. But there's two in there that snuck in as not. Shawn, thank you again for all the education and the amazing specimens. Finally all caught up with your shows around our vacation. Now listen to Miss Penny's vacation. Halifax and the area in Nova Scotia are beautiful. Unfortunately, we had a torrential downpour when we went to Peggy's Cove, probably the most photographed lighthouse in the world. In Lunenburg, where we went on a zodiac tour and saw seals and amazing rock formations on the mini island outcroppings. Fortunately, the pouring rain in Lunenburg started after that tour. Also, unfortunately, due to Hurricane Beryl, there was extensive damage in Nova Scotia's Bay of Fundy, with many roads and bridges washed out, including the death of a child. Tour operators weren't going there, as I don't drive, and as I don't drive on vacation, the Bay of Fundy will stay on my bucket list. Bay of Fundy, between Nova Scotia and New Brunswick, with the high and low tides, is probably where your dad had brought you the rock from. Yep, that is where. And he did go on a tour to that, and he had always wanted to see that spot, oddly enough. Shawn, I think you and every other rockhound would simply love the rock formations in Newfoundland, aka the Rock. It is made up of granite, quartz, and feldspar. The formations in the northern Avalon Peninsula are just spectacular, showing all the crevasses after the glaciers melted away. The views of the cliffs and caves, both from the chilly North Atlantic Ocean and the land, are absolutely breathtaking. There is such an interest in the rocks there that Memorial University of Newfoundland will be starting a program in the next couple of years on rocks and archaeology. Cool. They already have geology, ecology, and marine sciences. Despite the weather being 50-50, we certainly enjoyed all the tours and the landscapes. Well worth visiting if anyone gets the opportunity, even though we missed the whales by a few days on our whale watching tour. That's it for now. Sorry for all the rambling, but I was so excited to share my trip. I will send photos as soon as I can. Wish everyone a wonderful week and hope to see you next week. I know, and you didn't, but here I am now. That sounds like a great time. And anytime that you're surrounded by nothing but rocks, you can't go wrong. That's an area that actually I've never been to. I've been as far as Quebec, and then I've always wanted to go further east and north, and haven't been able to do it. But you know, when it comes to weather, Raven's just like I am. We actually love rain. We love rainy days. We love thunder. We love lightning. Of course, everything in moderation, but even if we were out doing something, it wouldn't bother us, to carry an umbrella. Now, granted, it's often inconvenient, and a lot of people see it as something that's ruined, but not us. It's just another element of Mother Nature. And without the rain and the water, alluvial mining wouldn't be possible. There wouldn't be rocks in the streams, right? Yeah, you gotta love one, you gotta take one with the other. Okay, so let's see, we only had a couple of winners, and the toss-up in the name between, that would be, I think it was Miss Barbara or Miss Elisa were the winners, and the lucky winner this week is Miss Barbara. Miss Barbara, let me show you something that is the last of what I have, except for a few I kept for myself. Here is your prize. It is incredibly rare crystals of alexandrite. And these, you can even see the reddish color tint to them. And these are the, I've had these for decades. And my Brazilian friend I told you about that actually is the one that told me about how to correctly re-oil emeralds. He is the one that actually gave me these decades ago. And he actually knew the owner of the mine. And at one time, the alexandrite mine there in Brazil was heavily controlled by politics, and at one time by military. It was considered that valuable, but so it was difficult to get this material. Now, we're talking Brazilian. Almost all the alexandrite that you see used in this cluster jewelry and this mass manufactured jewelry is Orissa, India alexandrite. And it has a different color change, and it's very recognizable for what it is. The Brazilian material is the most valuable in the world outside of genuine Russian. The red to green Russian stuff is still easily by far the most valuable. It's kind of like cashmere sapphire. They're beautiful, they're great, they're most valuable, but there's very few of them. Same thing with the Russian alexandrite. So the Brazilian is by far the very next best. It can go from a gorgeous deep reddish secondary kind of purple color tones to a wonderful, wonderful green with secondary blue color tones. These crystals have a stunning color change, and they are actually facetable as well. And I just never have. And you can see, of course, one of these gem tubes. So, yeah, can't show much for color change in the situation, but it'll give you something fun to play with when you get them at home. Okay, let me tuck those away, and I'll be right back with the start of the show. Discussed in Hydro Star Sapphire. And I tell you what, this is taking some steady hands. I'll show you the large stone and the star, and we'll do all that in a moment. But first, I want you to focus, and I'm going to lead you right to where you're to look for. Now, don't focus on the other crystals that are in there, which include calcite and zircon and whatnot. Okay, so you see that black speck? The top left prong, I have it in a little gem holder. The top left prong, in front of it, there is a natural black speck in the sapphire. Right below it, you see a cavity diagonally running, the way I have it oriented now, diagonally running, and in that cavity to the right-hand side, that is a dissolved crystal, maybe calcite, since it dissolves out easily. And it has left a gas and a liquid in that cavity. So in that cavity, where you see it's a pointed crystal to the right, there's a bubble right there. If you follow it, once you see it move, you will know exactly where to look. So it's going to move to underneath that black object. And in the world of anhydrous, this is there it goes. You see the bubble has moved to underneath that black object. Now let me turn it back the other way. And then there it goes back to the corner. I'll do this a couple times so you can, and see if you can catch me not shaking enough to where you can see it move. It moves over that's me. There we go. You see the bubble? It's moving right up underneath that black speck. There it goes. And now look at it move back into the crystal. It is a stunning and rare formation to find an anhydro so prominent in a gemstone like this. Okay, you see the bubble right there gathered on the right-hand side? And as I rotate it, that bubble goes up over a little crystal that is protruding into, now you see that bright reflection right to the left and down beneath that black speck. And look at, there it goes. It just moved to the top. And as I turn it, it moves to the right. Now, not to be confused with that very cool natural crystal that you see up close to the prong and to the right of it. Okay, so look at that bubble. If I had a third hand, I'd get a little pointer and point it to you. But it's a large bubble especially in the size cavity that it's in, and it is very active, and it moves back and forth quite readily. It will move up out of its little hiding spot, and then it comes back to it. Let's show you the star, and I may give you another view of that. Hold on one second. Let me do this from another angle for a moment. And when you have this at home and have the
loop, just lay that straight down on the ground.
Okay, that's a good idea. Let me try that. There we go. Maybe I can get a better. Yep. Hold on. You're right. Smart. That's why he's the big. Oh yeah. Now I can balance it better. Good job, Awesome. Okay. Yes. Smart. I am glad there's someone like you. Hold on. So let me start off by pointing there. Then I can use two hands to balance this. Now, whoops. Hold on. This is where, let me see how I can do this without showing you my hand. Yeah, I'm trying to not get my hand in the shot. Okay, so let me come right down, right there, in front of that prong and that black spot. Now that you know the area, let me see if I can't rest this steadily. When you have this in person and look at it, it is so prominent and easy to see. And why I have had it for so many years and enjoy, having enjoyed, it's not too many times minerals and crystals do something. And in this case, an anhydro, it's active, it's doing something. Hold on a second.
Here you go. Yeah.
And with a bubble that moves back and forth, especially in something as unique and rare as an sapphire, to have it in. Now let me try rotating that. Oh, there it goes. It just bounced up. Okay, now it's the shiny thing underneath that. Now it's right underneath the black speck, and then the entire bubble moves into that to the right-hand side of that void. Let me try one more thing and cut this light down a little, see if it helps it any. Not. Let me see that. And this is the actual fun of, gemstones and minerals. And that is literally getting to look at all their natural properties. And this not only has the anhydrous bubble, I'm spinning it around just so you can see the other cool inclusions in it. It has other crystal inclusions that that are known to be from this area that can include zircons and calcites. And this to be a star also, this has lots of fun things to observe in it. Now, let me take this back here to center. I am going to show you the star in this now. Thank you, sir, for the moment. And then the kicker. We'll bring out the star in this for you. There we go. Now, look at this stone. If it didn't have the beauty of the anhydrous even, this is a wonderful 6-ray star, translucent star. Does this, no. Let me see, show it to you in the different lights. Look at that. So you can actually see the color against the white background. Let me prop that up. And now you can see, relative to the size of the stone, just how big the actual area, let me get my pointer, the anhydrous covers. And you can actually, I can see the bubble right there. You can actually see the bubble right there. There's the bubble with the way I have it turned right there in the corner. And you can see the angular point to the right-hand side of that would have been the original crystal that left the void. And so it is actually a large area that bubble can travel in, which is, and it's a big bubble. And it's a big bubble. This is there. Once you see it and know what to look for, that it becomes just really easy, really easy. And one more other lighting scheme, if you can follow with me there, Lateef. Let's go ahead, and if you can just give me a focus there. I can rest this on here. And now you can easily see, kill that and see how it does. You can there we go. You can easily see that void now. And you can see relative to the, there it goes. See that bubble go? Wow. Okay, I'm going to turn it back this way. Look at it. Okay, there it just went to the left-hand part. This is the best shot of it yet. And now as I turn it to the right, that bubble, there it goes. It moved into the other side. And you see why it actually travels up and over a solid. So it's almost a 3-phase inclusion. Okay, now watch the bubble move. Once you know and see it, then you know what you, look at that. Boom. It just went up over that little solid that enters that cavity. Let me move it again, now that you know what you're looking at. And there it goes. Let me try a little bit other different lighting here. Boom, back and forth. There it goes again. So I hope you have, between, my shaky hands and getting it out of view, that you could have seen that go back and forth, because it is a very visible movement now that figured out how to show it to you for the TV. And other than that, holding it in tweezers and looking at it, it's really easy to see. You see it easy now, Latif, don't you? Mm-hmm. Going back and forth. Yeah, look at that. Yep. So thanks everybody for your patience, because now I'm happy. You can see even how it goes up over that little ridge, that little solid in there. Hold on, and look at that. That's unique to have that other crystal enter the pocket to where it actually, look at that bubble. I have never seen a gemstone, boom, look at that, have such a prominent anhydro. And a beautiful gemstone. Boy, that's really, really acting up now. It is really moving for you. I just had to find the right lighting to be able to bring it out to you and steady the hands at the same time, because under this kind of magnification, oops, it takes more. Okay, so I feel confident that everyone should have been able to, by now, catch at least a glimpse or two of the movement of that ultra, ultra rare sapphire. Thank you, sir. And now we'll back to that star, and look at that. Wow. There's all kinds of other lighting angles. That looks so good. And I could just do that all day long, but we don't have all day long. That is so much fun. I have had this treasure for years. I discovered it. It came in as an estate. It was not recognized for what it was by anyone else. It would never, I could have never wound up with it if that was the case. I, out of curiosity, did some searching, and there was not a single other anhydro sapphire, period, let alone star sapphire, let alone blue star sapphire. And under magnification, like I have, even 10 power, it's easy to see the other crystals. Now, stars, sapphires, you may have always heard, you hear about stars always having not been heat treated. Well, even though you have a star in a sapphire, they still can have gone through a heat treatment process. I know you've never heard that before, but it's called low temperature heat treating. Even at that, though, it will leave telltale signs that it has been heat treated by low temperature minerals like calcite being in it, which will explode, flatten out, dissolve in. They'd leave a remnant, a halo, a remnant of themselves. So to always generally say, because it has a star, it hasn't been heat treated, isn't always true. Most of the times, yes, you can go with that, but it's not all the time. This has the signs, of course, of several other minerals in it, and that water would have never withstood, or the gas bubble withstood any type of treatment. This has a wonderful color. It is Ceylon origin, and let me show you the back. It is actually very nicely cut. Look at that. That's a beautiful finish for a lot of gems. They just don't finish them that well. And let me show you in my hand the size. And you can see that's a nice size gem. That's a beautiful gem. And such an oddity. Such an oddity. So something like this, of course, it would be, I have no idea how to price it because there's nothing else to compare it to. And all I have to think is, okay, if it's a star sapphire, all right, at 5.65 carat, what is it worth as a star sapphire as it is now? Well, really, as a star sapphire with that kind of clarity, in a general market, easily $100 a carat. What kind of premium then would I add for the anhydro? It should be 3-4 times that. It would be name your price, because there's not another one that we've ever seen to compare it to. And that's kind of where this is left. Let me put it in here so you can see another color and clear. Look at that. What a gem. So, you know, I don't know. But what I do know is that based on it being worth X number of dollars, just as a star sapphire that it is, which it's more like $200 or $300 a carat for what it is. But let's say it's only $100 a carat, which is way less than the market value of it. Well, let's go just with some auspicious numbers. How about this? Only $788 for the stone. Only $788 for the stone. Internal crystals. I want to take pictures of them and all like that, which you could easily do, but I'll let whoever is lucky enough to get that jewel have the fun of that. This is an amazing, amazing oddity, and whoever gets it, if you hold it with tweezers, don't hold it in your hand. Oftentimes the temperature of your hand can, what I found actually, when the temperature passes through into some different anhydros, they can disappear. And you wonder, what happened to the bubble? Well, I don't know how all that works, but you know there's a lot of water inclusions in quartz and other minerals, and obviously liquid inclusion in this. And if that happens, then just put it in metal tweezers and the bubble comes back in moments. Remember the other day I told you I was trying to figure out where it goes hiding? It doesn't go anywhere. It kind of just like dissipates, which makes it even more clever. And I found out I couldn't figure out what was doing it. And it was, in my opinion, that was the temperature of my hand. So, it quickly and stays visible. All I have to do is hold it with tweezers, which I should be holding it with anyway. It's far too easy to drop sometimes with your human fingers. And if you're not over a safe location, you know, they're down there, conditioning vent, it goes. Okay, so that is fun item number one. Now, here's the other item I told you about that or referenced. And so let me just show you for a moment. How many of you, no item for this also for anything, it's just a little lesson thing. All right, how many of you remember a malachite cross that looked like this except had gold caps and gold binding on it and a gold veil? I offered it originally for $88. I marked it to $68, and last price was $64. So I showed it 3 different times. Nobody bought it. Well, I got to looking at it, and when I stopped at 64, didn't show it again. It's like, you know what? If no one bought it, they had many opportunities. I'm just going to scrap it for the gold in it. And I had a feeling. Here is the gold. Remember this harness? That is what went around the center, and then these rope designs wrapped around the front, and then it had this nice bail, and then it had these end caps on the end of each one of the malachite bars. So nobody wanted it at the end for $64, and I don't mean to be a little cocky, but I guess I'm going to come across a little snarky. There is 3 grams of metal here, and at the current price of gold, you're talking about $140 worth of gold was in a cross you could have bought for $64. So when I say that, I'm one that if I say there's more gold than, I'm asking type thing, which would be stupid to sell something with more gold in it. But I was being stupid and was doing exactly that. Not only by losing some, but by losing a lot. $145 in gold in that piece alone. And all of you had the opportunity to get it at 3 different prices, any one of them being a moneymaker, starting off at the $88 price. So pay close attention, because Shawn makes, I don't know if it's an error or, when I say I don't know what something is worth, obviously, because I sure couldn't figure that out. It would have taken specific gravity tests and all, but so what do? I just lowball it. All right. Now, that said, let me put this away and I'll be right back. All right, so, I'm going to segue from one star to another. Check this out. Star dioxide. And look at that familiar word, orisa. Didn't I just mention that a little bit ago in reference to one of the primary origins of alexandrites that are used in commercial jewelry? Is a very gem-heavy geologic area of India called orisa. And pegmatites, etc. there. And so a lot of garnets are found there, alexandrites, a lot of other minerals. Look at this, 4-star diopside, 4-ray star. Why 4 and not 6? It has to do with the crystal system. And then you can see they're not even at right angles to each other. And that, again, would have to do with the crystal system of diopside. I think it might be monoclinic. Look at how beautiful that star is. When, for those of you young enough, old enough, I guess I should say, that were around in the 70s and 60s, you might have gotten something in the mail and it would say Black Star of India. And it was a freebie, a free promotion. It said Black Star of India. A lot of people thought they were Black Star sapphires. No, they were actually genuine stones. They were star diopsides. And so now you know, if you ever wondered what that stone was that you got so long ago in the mail, this is actually a really nice quality. A lot of this material will have those kind of inclusions that you see in that piece. This happens to be a good size, as you can see in my hand. Been doing bench work this week, so excuse my fingers. Price on this is only $38. Only $38. And so when you look at it, it's just a little over $2 a carat. Most places you'll find it at 6 or 7 a carat. This actually was in a ring that I offered, and I don't mean to rub it in, but you could have bought the ring, the stone, and hold on, the white star sapphires that went all the way around it also. I was looking, I had the ring here to show you the ring, and it was another bargain. That the value of the gold weighed more than what I was asking for the whole piece. Oh me, I had allowed a different weight on this stone because I just kind of roughly calculated it. And so it came out that there was a lot more gold weight than I had figured. And, but everyone had a chance at it, and he missed out. So, yeah, only $38 on that. All right, now, next item. Let me show you. Item 1093523. We're just getting through some easy business items right now. And that is this piece. Check this out. Wow. Some really bright peridot. August birthstone. Heavy weight. Look at that. Heavy weight in sterling silver. And nicely done. If nothing else, you could just scrap it and take the stones and do something else with them if you don't like the cross design, and recycle it. And that's how many things are often done. There's rounds in there and there's matching ovals. So you can see the size of it. All right, I'm going to make it so low though. I have showed this before, and it was inexpensive before, and I guess I'll go as low to a point, and then I'll realize that the silver is more than it is. I learned my lesson. All right, how about this? I'll mark it down some more, and let's make it Oh my. Yeah, this will be okay. $36. Only $36 on that jewel. Now, item number 1196024. Here I have two. So there's a quantity of two. And for those of you that I know, I'm still smashing up gemstones, but I am for the gemstone pictures that I also want to make. So if you don't want to just go and use one of the dyed sands that you can get at an aquarium store, which you can get all that dyed sand online as well, but what's the fun in that? It's much more fun, believe me, to take natural spinel, look at that, some very crystalline, and smash. Take all you have when you're having a bad day, just go out there and smash away. To create any of the black color you might need for your gemstone painting. And for those of you that may not, because I actually brought in samples of what I was talking about. Google gemstone paintings Vietnam and you'll find the video and you'll be just stunned. But that's what they do in the cutting centers with leftover gem material trimmings, like I've showed you I have before. And they crush them up, create a sand kind of mixture out of them, and then they paint, so to speak, with it. They glue areas and put the sand down. It's really amazing. I used to be able to get portraits done by them. They did such a accurate job at recreating scenes using gemstones. So this is natural black spinel. This also works fantastic to back opals with, to create doublets. It is spinel, as hard as it is. You can use it for, actually you can hone certain type of laps with it because of its hardness, etc. Price on these, 50 carat each parcel, only have two. If someone wants to get both of them, no problem. I don't have but a small amount for myself personally left. So that will be all I will have left of the black spinel. $12 each. They're only $12 a parcel. I only have two available. But if you want to have something that is a natural stone and didn't know what to use, and black onyx doesn't always crush up black. Black onyx often, if you hold it up to the light, it will be a light, really dark brownish color if it's natural. So, but black spinel will crush up truly as black sand, and it won't be Pele's sand with the curse that comes with it. Okay. Now, item number 1195524. This is for one of them for, anyway, Miss Jan. But I had enough so that I am giving someone else an opportunity to get in on Shawn's tumbled moonstone. This is the moonstone I talked about that I not only found on Lake Lanier, but also road pavement, walking the gravel roads. So look at this. This is all natural moonstone that I collected myself. And it is some beautiful, beautiful stuff. It is, oh yeah, let me give you the item number. It's item number 1195524. And so I had mined all this material myself, and then I tumbled it myself. And there is pieces in here that are really beautiful quality with not only beautiful patterns, but then look at that. Look at that. I mean, that is adularescence is as good as any moonstone. Look at even the dark. Look at that. The darker colors, a whole mix of colors, and there is some that is even facet grade. And it was it's amazing, my moonstone stories. I'll have to tell them in another show. But if you stuck around long enough, you would have heard them, how I found it. Look at that, a deposit below the level. That might be a piece of quartz in there. Oh, yep. Anyway, So I will set aside one for you. Here's the other one. They're both very similar. So I just put the name on one. This other one will be available for anybody that wants it. And price on the parcel is only $24. $24. And you get genuine Georgia moonstone. And it was not only mined or gathered, because I didn't exactly pick and shovel it. I walked the gravel road. And then, of course, Lake Lanier, I did use a little bit of a pick, but it could only gather so much before the lake came up, forever to hide its secret below the water once again, along with the 6-foot catfish. And you know, at the bottom of Lake Lanier, there's an entire town. When they flooded the dam in the 1950s, after building it, they couldn't. They topped the trees and they moved out anything that might float to the surface after moving out people that have lived there for generations. But there is, at the bottom of Lake Lanier, divers can actually go and explore. And there's an old movie. There's a Main Street. You can actually go scuba dive down along Main Street. There's an old theater you can go into. They said it is just ghostly, with the chairs intact and the whole work. So that would be quite the experience down there, other than moonstone. All right, so here we go. I have one marked for you, Miss Jan. I will put that parcel up, and let's get to the next item. That brings in this tray right here. And wow. Here we go. Let's have some fun. In looking, first. And looking around, again, it's always kind of fun to explore the house for who knows what I am going to find next from decades and decades of collecting. Many things show up that I either forgot about or placed somewhere that I long forgot about it before. And one of those items you're getting ready to see in a moment. But before that, to go along with the moonstone, because you can crush that moonstone up also into little tiny pearlescent like sand size or whatever grade mesh size you want. But it really is beautiful because of the little adulorescent reflections. 119-5124. 119-5124. For those of you that are, I think, Miss Penny would still maybe looking for something that would make yellow. But this is open and available to anyone that wants it. Look at this. This is the real deal for Tanzanian hessonite. And this parcel, 35 carats of material. I have tumbled this material. I have also had it faceted. And it not only tumbles beautifully, but it also cut incredible stones. Of course, you know, I sent the material off years ago to be cut in Thailand, and got back amazing workmanship. And they're really good about not cutting things that would be too included, etc. So anyway, I saved some of the rough just to do whatever I wanted to do with in the future. You can see it goes from the really golden yellow hessonite. Remember, hessonite is a type of grossular garnet. But if you want a natural yellow and didn't have citrine or wanted something a little bit different color than citrine to smash up for your gemstone paintings, here they are. And I only say to smash them up. These might be out of the realm of what you might want to smash up, but for something special, take a few of them and it could make a beautiful color. $24 is all. $24 is all for that parcel of, my birthstone. And if you're looking for facet material, here for only $24 to get hessonite, that's a bargain that you wouldn't be able to find at any of the places that sell, quote, facet grade rough. So, all right, let me put these up and I'll get set up on a run we're going to do on the next item where every item is going to be only $25. I'll be right back. Look at this. Now, for descriptive purposes, I've called this a beveled cabochon. It's a cabochon, but the edge is beveled, which I like, prevents chipping. Look at this. Chlorite in quartz. Talk about, I tell you what, this is Mother Nature's way of showing you what a coral reef looks like through seawater. And some of these are, having been all over the Bahamas and over all kinds of different reefs, it really truly does look like, and remember, 14 aquariums, 7 of them saltwater with natural live growing coral in them. What I did was often I took our agatized corals that you see me offer, and it looks so natural putting them in there. Because they went, well, look at this. Look at this piece. You have this is how they cut it. So they have, they find, these deposits with chlorite. Well, chlorite, when it comes cut properly, can be a beautiful inclusion. And in this case, you can see why. You have actually a little chatoyancy playing across here. And you can catch some irises in here if we get the right light on any inclusions at the right angle. But look at that. High grade quartz cut intentionally, leaving the chlorite there to provide you with these. Oh, there it is. I thought there was an iris in that. Look at that reflection. Oh, that looks like a tornado iris reflection coming down to there. That's neat. It's worth it for the iris in itself. All right, $25. All these items you're going to see are going to be $25 each, starting with that one. Next item, 119, 45.24. Take your pick. We have choices between beveled cabochons or look at this, faceted. And again, the backside being chlorite, but very cleverly done. You can see all kinds of images in there. I mean, it's almost like the picture agates and picture jaspers. There's see the different planes. Sometimes chlorite will grow layer on top of layer, and you get multi-dimensional looks. That either can look like bushes in the background and a dry creek red in the front. $25. You come up with what it looks like to you. These are wonderful to either use in jewelry or you can use them simply to put in the showcase as little odd and end displays throughout it. Item 119, 46.24. Look at this one. Each of these different. Oh, look at this one. Some of these have multicolors, as this one does. I see purple chlorite, I see green chlorite, I see tannish color chlorite. Look at that. Look at that. And really, to bring out the look, it takes as much talent orienting the desired inclusion sometimes as it does to cut out an inclusion. So in a piece like that, it is a, look at that, the dimensions and with the faceting really give you a much deeper perspective than what's really there. Look at that. They are little Mother Nature's scenery, just little scenes, only $25. Item number 119, 43.24. Let's see what this next one brings us, besides only the price of $25. Look at that. Oh, you know I like it because it self-displays. Look at that. I think these should all be cut that way. Wow. There, I just saw green. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful colors. They're natural colors, Mother Nature's colors. There's not any chartreuse or anything like that. These are, they're actually crystalline. That's chlorite is also oftentimes what you find in the phantoms in those quartz crystals that you see. Can be thin layers of chlorite, one after the other. There's a couple layers visible in that particular one. Let's see what this next one brings us. 1194724. Only 25. We didn't even talk about that. Okay, so what is that? 60 cents a carat, roughly. Only 60 cents a carat. I don't know what these would cost to replace, but I do know they go back at least 15, 20 years. I know that since I may have had. Look at that. So, yes, as in everything else, don't know what I paid for them, but I am sure that they would cost me more than what I'm selling them for now. Look at that. And if you look closely, you can often see other inclusions. Everything from rutile to hematite to, hold on a minute, even potential star formations. I see a chatoyancy here moving back and forth across. Not sure what's generating it, but there certainly is, there we go, thank you, something there other than just the reflection. Very neat items and fun to work with, especially if you're into doing inexpensive or learner's wire wrapping. These are perfect. I know, you know, that people can whip out a wire wrap in 15 minutes on a simple design to hold something in with the bail and all. So, you know, it is a lot of fun to teach yourself that while you're watching TV. And you know what? It doesn't take much more than just trying it to start with. But other than that, there's all kinds of videos, and you can start off with copper wire and make a lot of fun things very inexpensively. Okay, now let's see. We do have a couple more. Yep, two more $25 items. 1195024. And this is going to be two pieces for the price of $25. So look at that. You have a beveled cabochon there. And look at this one. This one, tricolor. This was, oh yeah, I remember. One of my favorites because of the tricolors. You have that orangish, then the greenish color, and then the purplish color chlorite. In the beveled cab, how beautiful is that? And then look at that. Look at that. The way they cut them, they're very clever cutters. They're able to make the chlorite seem to come right up to the surface. It's kind of cool, which, of course, optics of quartz or glass tend to do that in that convex position anyway. So a lot of people just don't always realize what causes that effect because we're too busy looking at how cool it is. One more. Let's look at item 1194924. When I did these, I said, okay, I'm going to do enough so that everybody can have one, because at $25, let me tell you, you got to have one just to have one at this price. Two more. You get them both for $25. Look at that. Again, looking like there is so much more depth to it. And that is without even having the fun of looking at them with any magnification. They're just beautiful. Just beautiful. So that is our $25 run of chlorite in quartz. And again, this stock goes way back in time. It had been misplaced, we'll put it that way, and rediscovered. Let's look at the last item, but it's not 25. It's going to be a little more. 1194424. 1194424. This one, it's because it's so big, is not going to be much more. It's only going to be $45, but look at the size of that and look at how beautiful it is. Let's turn it that way. And the purple, look at that. So you have it, what to me, you know what I see? I see the sun. I see the sun up in the corner with the sun's rays coming away from it and shining down with grass in the foreground. You have a wonderful multicolor scenery. Look at the little reflections even off the chlorite, the crystalline chlorites. And who knows what else is in there in sometimes just really small rutile needles. And they're like angel hair. They're so small that you don't really notice them until light either reflects off them or you look at them with a loupe. But look at that. Look at that. And there's the different layers. So very clever. There's even some extra little crystals in that pocket, it looks like. So only $45. Look at how large that is. Okay, let me tuck these away. I'll be right back. Wait till you see what's next. Okay. Don't quite have the memory of an elephant, but occasionally a flashback will come through and I'll remember something that someone requested a long time ago, and this, I think, is one of those cases. So I am setting this aside for Miss Barbara in the event that she wants it, because she did ask for one some time ago and didn't know I had it. Didn't know I had it. It was another one of those discoveries. And I, from what I can tell, have only two left. This one and one other that is, as soon as you walk in our door, we have a little side table, and it's on that along with some other amazing pieces. So I'm keeping that one to keep the raven happy, but this one I came across. So it must have been meant to be, because I wouldn't have even known I had it. So Miss Barbara, I believe it was you that was interested in one of these. I know Miss Gabby had gotten one, and I think you had expressed interest at that point. Well, I'm going to tell you the truth. I went and I actually looked after I made the price on it and looked on the internet, and I could not find a single one that was even close to the quality of this, nor the size. Look at this. They were, you know what? They call specimens anymore cabinet size when they're half this size. Well, this actually would be a large cabinet. They call ones that are like a little square like this, they call them a small cabinet specimen. No, they shouldn't be called a cabinet specimen at all. Cabinet specimen usually stands for a particular quality and a particular size. This is full scale, real deal for the meaning of cabinet quality in both senses of the word. This is material I got a long time ago, very trusted source. And I had picked up a few pieces from the source, and he had a story as to how he had gotten them, and I was more than happy to take him off his hands. And the ones I did see were really small, and they were unbelievably expensive. Others, it's buyer beware, because they can chemically create this type of tarnish on them. But you know me, I'm going to know the difference. And these are natural color. Natural color. Now, dolomite. You can see the dolomite crystals. And as I turn this, as often iridescence does, it actually will change. They actually will change color. In other words, I can angle them, and you'll get a much brassier look. But look at some of these. Look at the green on that. I mean, if they could color them, they'd color them all that color, I would think, because that is absolutely stunning, and it stands out, very unique. Since I can't probably hold it through my hand, and I don't want to mess up the paint. There we go. Look at this. Here's the other neat thing you want to look for. how well formed the chalcopyrite crystals are. Many times with these, they're not well defined as in the traditional sense of a chalcopyrite crystal, but most chalcopyrites aren't always perfectly formed. Or take different habits of their crystal system. So when you get one that looks like that, that is a really nice, desirable crystal. And when you start looking, there's a lot of others that are very well formed. How the difference, of course, between chalcopyrite and pyrite is the addition of copper. And that is what gives you this amazing iridescence throughout these different colors. Look it down in there. So I noticed that on this, almost all the chalcopyrites formed on top of dolomite. If dolomite wasn't present, they didn't form on what they call a dolostone, or it's a kind of a silicified limestone type thing. I'll show you the back of it in a minute. Look at that. See these really nicely defined crystals. Squares for pyrite. If you find something with squares and right angles, you're looking at pyrite. If you find something with triangles, it's chalcopyrite. That's okay. So you see how these look brassy through here? Now I just turned them, and on this backside, look at all the purple. Look at how beautiful these are. From what, and even I noticed from this specimen to the one we had by the window, there's a difference in the oxidation, which is what you're looking at, this patina, this iridescence. It will just only increase depending on your environment and the chemicals over time that are present or that it reacts with. Look at this. This is a really impressive piece, and why I had saved it all this time. The brassy colored is your classic chalco color that you'll find in most other deposits, except when you get to the Reynolds County, Missouri, especially the viburnum trend material. All right, so you see this? No dolomite, no chalcopyrite. But as soon as you get into the dolomite crystals here, which you can see underlie the chalcopyrite, then you get the chalco forming. Same thing on the back. So here is all this material, no chalcos. Here is a little bit of dolomite. And with that, you get a little bit, you get small crystals, there we go, of chalcopyrite with that as well. So at least this isn't one of those specimens that you feel like you have to display both sides, because that is always confusing to me. It's like, which side do I display? Or when do I flip them around? This can be displayed easily in this direction attractively, or in a stand-up type of stand. Beautiful. So unless Miss Barbara doesn't want this, I have set this aside for her at the price of only $178. $178. So my story goes on. Relative to what I saw, if there was even a specimen available, something like this would easily command twice that price. And that is if you could even find one. I didn't. Even though they may be available and are available, I didn't see one any of the many places that I looked out of curiosity for a kind of price reference. The other thing, of course, I did look at all different sites out of my own curiosity, was for an anhydro sapphire. And it just wasn't anything. So if for rarities, that is one of the rarest things. I even mentioned to Latif just a moment ago, I said, I'm going to end up regretting that, selling that sapphire. But hey, you know, come a time and place for everything. And as long as it goes to one of all of the family there, and I think Miss Gabby has her eyes on it if she's interested. So if not, then we'll know that as well. And if things come back around, it's because they're meant to be, I guess. Item number 118-9924. Let's take a look at what this is. Well, here we go. Doing way too many things at once. Boy, I miss the Raven. Okay. Here is a collection of 2 opals, it appears to be. And amazing, amazing opals. Of course, I think it's obvious to everyone which one is which by way of Ethiopian. Look at that gem. Wow. That is a beauty. And look at that. That is actually preformed, ready to go to be faceted if you wanted to facet it. Quite the color. And then this one, old Cooper Pedy material. Just a nice classic Cooper Pedy. This type of opal, not even this nice of opal, but this kind of the white milk base opal is used in opal jewelry for decades and decades. This having a lot more fire than, look at the reds in this. This actually is a much nicer opal than what you first might surmise by looking at it. And if I can get that green tube out of the way, I won't drive Austin nuts. Look at that. Still a little rusty again when it comes to showing gemstones. Something you used to show all the time, lots of them. Not so much anymore. Okay, so anyway, I'm letting these come back around. Maybe I showed them to you before. I don't know. I'm going to pretend like I did, and that way I'll mark them down anyway. Both of them, $32. That's ridiculous. It really is. Mostly the Cooper Pedy stone. There's the money stone. Is that Cooper Pedy stone? That is a beautiful opal. Oh, it was also some of the first opal. Remember, I had told the story about how I couldn't wait to facet opal. This is when I started fasting at 15. I knew it was soft, it'd take a fast polish, and I thought I would be different, and I was. There was really in 1975, 76, there wasn't anybody really thinking about faceting opal. Now, of course, you see faceted Ethiopian opal all the time. Mostly Ethiopian. You don't still see Australian opal faceted that much, but I did it. I did it. I wonder what happened to those stones because I don't remember selling them. All right, let me put those up, clean up a little bit of mess, and then be right back to you. All right, I have another interesting stone here. And of course, you know, if I still have things like this, there's going to be something different or special about them. Now, this is, in my opinion, but anybody by now in the in the gemstone business should be able to tell for the most part whether a sapphire has been heat treated or not. Now, it becomes difficult if the sapphire is so clean that it has no inclusions in it. Then it gets a little trickier. But if a sapphire has inclusions of particular types, and they're not exploded or, you know, little halos around them, and you can see well-defined crystals, as you can see in the graphic. I have been able to spot, now with magnification, inside this stone, and we're just gonna, since this is the show that we can have a little fun, I'm going to try to show you what to look for in this. I've already determined, so if you just follow me here, Latif. Okay, here we go. And this is how you would do it at home. All right, you can see right now, what is all that? Yes, those are inclusions you would not have seen. And with correct magnification, you can actually identify what minerals they are. The presence of them being whole crystals will tell you, especially if there's calcite, that it hasn't been even low temperature heat applied. In this one, yeah, you don't see that done every day, do you? And where people are actually shown how to look for themselves. I have determined this one has feldspar and zircon, and actually in that anhydro piece, I'm trying to figure out what the cavity, the crystal of the original cavity was that for the anhydro, and it could be calcite or a another one. Feldspar as well. Feldspar comes in many forms in sapphire. All right, so I'm going to show you for just a moment these inclusions. Hold on. Oops, I knew I should have been born with that another hand. But in lieu of that, I have the patient Latif. Okay, let's get back to where we were. Here's the other side, and this is this interesting part. Now, you notice you didn't see any of those from above, so they're well placed. Boom. That paints a whole nother light on it. And then if we want, that's 30 power. If we want, and if there's enough depth, which there isn't, hold on, can you, let me try something here. This is a 60 power. Okay, I didn't clean it. I didn't think it could do it. But if we had enough depth, I could show it to you through the 60 power. But here's enough to give you an idea. You can see those are not any kind of standard sapphire inclusions. You can see they are easily defined and recognized as other minerals in the machine. So much for ghosts. That is how you have fun and learn. And so here with backlit is another view of them. If this stone was heated, around those inclusions, the inclusion might be almost gone except for a very small center portion of it. But what you would find is the dissolved remnants of what was there. And in doing that, it usually will melt out into the corundum, into the sapphire, leaving a halo type of, or a lily pad type of look around the sapphire and, or around the inclusion. There, with all those different types of inclusions in it, we're none of those. We're none of those. So, you know, I could spend all the money in the world, or, well, not all the money in the world, but I could spend more money than what I'm going to sell you this sapphire for to go get it certified when all the gemology knowledge I have in the world tells me that, of course, it's not been heated. If, of course, this was some real expensive stone and it was important to have that certification, then it would be sent off and certified as such. But for what I'm charging for it, none of that is going to be necessary because it's a carat 15, and who wouldn't love to have a educational piece like this, besides having really good color, even though it is a strongly saturated. And that's the difference between color, tone, and saturation. You saw with the light what the actual physical color of it is. Beautiful color, strong saturation. Price on this, I have loved that gem only because, remember, I'm the one, the little boy who got the magazine every month that had a centerfold in it. No, not what you're thinking, but it did have a fold out of the inclusion of the month. I kid you not. My older brothers, imagine, older brothers, of course, teased me at that time to no end about the magazines they had versus little Shawn's magazine that was so proud to have his inclusion of the month in it. And somehow when I would go and brag and show them my picture, didn't quite have the same impression on them that I had hoped. They weren't real impressed with my centerfold. But from that day early on, I have always been interested as to what's inside a stone, often more so than what's outside of it.
Always what's inside that matters.
There you go. As Asif just said, always looking inside is what matters. And that carries forward, of course, to human beings. Truly. Truly, a truer word's never been spoken. All right, carat 15. Let's say we make this only round down from 60 a carat, make it $68. $68 on that. And wow, I know that will find a home. It's just a great representation for a Madagascar stone too. So, okay, now let's keep having some more fun. Item 1195324. Let's see here. Oh boy. Oh boy. Wow. Okay. Now, for those of you that dare to walk on the wild side when it comes to mineral specimens, I have one for you. And no, it's not one of the R minerals, but it is one of the, well, what do you want to call it? Poisonous minerals? Could be. It's an ore of it. Orpiment, Peruvian orpiment and pyrite. This is a beautifully beautiful specimen with enargite. This is from the difficult to say, Cuervilcea mine. Cuervilcea mine. And it is known to produce stunning orpiment specimens. And the golden part that you're seeing is orpiment as well. Why did I say what I did about orpiment? Well, because orpiment, along with realgar, orpiment is one of those ores that is a source for arsenic. Yeah, just arsenic. No big deal to that, right? Let me show you this, and I'm going to show you the price and everything. This is how I got it. I have it with one of, remember what I've told you about labels. They are the provenance of a piece. Keep every label you ever have, even these modern ones that I give you. It's the provenance, the history of the piece. Look at this. So it looks like at some point it sold for $4. I don't know what, or maybe it sold $84. I don't know. Either way, Stewart's Minerals is no longer in business, and this is, see, so like a sleuth, you start looking for clues as to age. Well, when is the last time you saw anyone use a typewriter? A real typewriter. That is what was used to, of course, type that. Also, that town, so this puts it, what? We're talking about 1970s or older. Now, let me show you just how gemmy, if there is such a thing, this orpiment is, because it has the classic crystal form that you want orpiment to be. Plus, also, you see all the yellow golden part that you're looking at? That is orpiment. There's no difference. That is just a unusual reflection. Okay, so watch this. As I turn it, a lot of them will go away. It's a odd type of surface coating on some, or a reflection type of look on others. Now, let me put this down. Yeah, here we go. So you can see, look at how gemmy the orpiment crystals are. I mean, those, if you could, thank you, sir. Perfect. Look at that. That's what you want to see. Believe me, not all orpiment is like that. If you wanted to facet some arsenic ore, highly, but it's only a hardest of 1.5 to 2. So not something you necessarily want to tackle, but it is beautiful nonetheless in the, how well formed and distinct, thank you, sir, these crystals are. That's what's important, is very little damage. You can see that coloring to that. So all it takes is just a little bit of light. All right, thank you. Now we'll show you the rest of it. And those crystals light up. Okay. Now, the mine produces copper, lead, silver, gold, and zinc. There's 18 miles of tunnels to this mine alone. You take the Huron or the Wansala, or some of those other mines, you have even a longer, bigger history and depth to the tunnels. Some of the Peruvian mines, or most of them, are at extremely high elevations and only really can employ some of the locals. Of course, Peru is where Machu Picchu is. Of course, they are the country of civilizations that love to live at high elevations. Now, energite is a copper arsenic sulfide, and whereas orpiment is just an arsenic sulfide, As2S3. Well, add copper to that and you get energite. What does that look like? Right here it is. Often forming in mass amounts, and that's why this also has quite a weight for it. So these black layers are your energite. Here's the other side. Look at this piece. This piece, look at these crystals, are stunning. Stunning. And as long as, you know, your ore is locked up with another mineral, you know, it's not like it's not like you're dealing with a bottle of arsenic that you used to be able to get for rat poison, but can't anymore. I wonder why. I think there are too many husbands that were disappearing. But yeah, the housewife's easy solution to a difficult husband was the old rat poison back in the day. Now, it almost looks like gold. It's a stunning specimen. A lot of you won't have it in your collection, but need to have it. You need to have it, especially with this old-time label. Add that to the history of it. Man, wow. Just, I love that stuff. I love the provenance when it comes with old labels like that. Price opportunity for you on it, and opportunity is certainly the word, as you know, because this, again, is not something that you can find. And also, with that label, it ensures the origin is correct. I have this at well below what any market would offer it for, and offer it for only $58. $58. How's that? And a double-sided, look at that. Well, triple-sided, that's not too bad looking. Well, quadruple-sided. A beautiful piece, especially, again, that means so much to have that other label. Okay, now, let me show you item 1194024. 1194024. And this, I had a little something to do with. Take a look. I should save it to the end because remember, we used to always close with a zeolite. But, check this out. What I had to do with it, all I had to do with it was cut the bottom off flat with my saw, which I did it because this piece demanded to be displayed up and down like it is. Look at the size of the gyrolites. Look at these huge gyrolites. Now, look at, compared to my finger. And then mirror apopholites. Look at that. When they reflect like that, they are given a distinct name of mirror apopholite. Now, here is something that you can learn from. Now, as we turn this to the side and you see the height of these gyrolites is what we're looking at right now. And then if you see this little discoloration right there and right here on basically, see, the very top of the gyrolite, you know what that is from? It is from the crystals continuing to grow until they hit the other side of the pocket. So most of these type of zeolites will form in crevices in the basalt, and they'll fill in that crevice until it can't grow any further. And then it starts bumping against the top portion of it. And that's why you can scrub on them and scrub on them. I haven't gotten it to go away. But if something really bothers you, you know, just as if it really bothers you, and since it maybe technically can be removed, get either white out or a white Sharpie marker, and you can just touch some of those up. I never do that, just to let you know. If I did, you wouldn't be seeing those spots there. Let me show you one more thing. Other than the gyrolite and the apophyllite celadonite. Let's take a look at the celadonite, because we talked about that earlier, and here is another great example of it. All the greenish material is either quartz colored by celadonite or celadonite itself for the most part, and it forms in all these little ambigules or vesicles or pockets or whatever you seem to be comfortable calling them. Look at almost every one has a growth in them, and that is fun enough. Look at that, to explore. You can find all kinds of unusual things back in them. Hopefully not a critter. But look at this, the back side. I mean, that's as much fun to look at. There's something different right there, and to figure out what else you have here. There's prehnite also. Now, if there was a way I could be interactive with you, I was just going to say, find the prehnite out of the face of this. It would be neat to see who could spot it. The prehnite that's different than the apophyllite and different than the gyrolite. And I wonder who would get it. Believe me, it wasn't easy, and it took a discerning eye. It might have taken me 30 seconds to find it. I'm being a little smart aleck professor, but I have a feeling some of you could find it. You just go through every different crystal and say, is it or is it not? No, instead of just looking at it in general. I tell you what, Latif was really, really close. Let's go in. And does that look like it's any different? It is not square or reflective like apophyllite. It's not white like the gyrolite, but it does have those ridged surfaces, very much like prehnite does. There it is. Because see this? See how it doesn't look like that? And it certainly doesn't look like that. It looks like prehnite, except it's white, clear white. And then looking down here further, you get another good idea of what it looks like. And that's as easy as it's done. Now, could there be something else? Yes. I could probably find another zeolite in here if I looked hard. See, this is what makes it fun. I all of a sudden forget what I'm doing. I start doing this and realize I am doing a show and I need to move on. So, I just saw another mineral. Well, I'm going to point out something and I'll let all of you look to see what it is. This may not be what I'm talking about though. Look at these little additional growths on top of the apophyllite. They're either secondary growths of apophyllite, which it very well could be, or it could be something else. Calcites often form. All right, so look at this. This specimen, a fantastic opportunity. This is from the Malad Quarry too, which is closed. The Malad Quarry has been closed for several years. It is a quarry that is right in the heart of Mumbai, and for safety reasons, I mean, you should see the the lower income homes are right up to the edge of the quarry, and how dangerous that would truly be. But the Malad Quarry is one of the most productive quarries at the time. It has since closed. It no longer will ever be open, called extinct. So specimens from the Malad Quarry are very desirable and going to be harder and harder to get. Price on this beautiful representation of a, the white to light colored zeolites is an opportunity here at only $88. $88. And some great value. Now, next I have for you from another extinct closed mine. So here's the other thing. When we're getting deeper and deeper into my collection of specimens, you know, many of them, the mines, making me feel old, might have been open when I collected them or got them in a state, or et cetera, et cetera. But in the time ensuing afterwards, a lot of these mines have since closed. And that's why, you know, what I might have presented 7 years ago might have been open, but now isn't. Let's look at 119-5824. Now, this particular specimen, the mine closed in 2007, but it is a mine that was opened in ancient times, just about. The Dreisler mine. Check this out. Okay, do you have the sheet? Or here's a look at this. So, okay, and I can just talk from the, Germany, barite. The history of barite and the mining at this particular mine goes way back. And it was owned by several different people. But nothing really was productive until World War I, and then it was halted. But for World War II, they really started up for the production of barite in particular. Now, a lot of these mines produce other different type ores at different times, so, and can be mined for whatever the economy may need at that particular time. Well, as people found more and more uses for barium, it became the needed and essential mineral, which really then opened up the mine. It were three primary veins in the Dreisler mine, and the chalcopyrites on the barite crystals reminds me of the vanadinite crystals that are perched on top of the other barite crystals that are from Morocco. A very similar thing you're going to find with these. So if you go to Mindat and you look this up, you're going to find specimen after specimen that looks exactly what I'm getting ready to show you. And you can see I have here Dreisler mine, closed in 07. And hold on, let me put that right here, because I just remembered I have something even more special to go with it. And I do this when I find it of needed interest or historical interest to the piece. So I'm not going to read all this. I'm just going to show it to you. First worked in 1870. Here's the history of it going down here. And then here, the bottom line is the most important at this point. The entrance to the mine was filled in to prevent vandalism. So you can see it was only increased demand for barite after the Second World War that made mining profitable again. Okay, this is going to come with it. Lots of other interesting goodies here. Now you know why it takes me so long to do inventory for all of you, because I will drift off on these tangents just as I do in talking, and get so passionate even about my reading. I'll just get lost and read more and more and more and more, and then, too much time passed. So, extinct, shuttered, filled in, no entrance. That's what we're talking about here. There's no way any other specimens are going to be mined. Look at this. Naturally, this is not, no saw cuts. This has a natural display angle in two directions, this way and this way. Well, let's go for 3, because you know how much I like when specimens do that. Look at that. Almost. Maybe a little sticky goop. But as we look in closer, all the specimens you're going to see are classics that look just like this. You have the barite blades with the chalcopyrite, since, yes, you know a lot about chalco since we showed that chalcopyrite specimen earlier. Look at this. Look at that. And these, of course, all naturally iridescent. And the chalcopyrites are so delicately balanced. Look at this up here. Look at on the very edge of these, just like the vanadinites. It's kind of interesting why or how they do that. This is a specimen, in my opinion, that as time goes on, it can do nothing but go up. They're extremely collectible from this particular location. I did have one large one, and those of you who remember Ursula, and I don't know, bless her heart, what happened to her, but she was our German buyer. She was from Germany and lived in Florida, and she bought the other large one. And this is a nice size specimen, and definitely would be considered a cabinet size specimen. One other note, if this looks a little familiar, well, the desert roses that are made up of either selenite or barite, doesn't that look a little familiar, like a desert rose? That shows you how crystal systems can look similar, even though the outside appearance may look totally different than this. But when you focus in on different little areas like that, yeah, that looks like a lot like some of the desert roses formations like that with those blades. Price on this, well below what a mineral, higher end mineral dealer would have something like this for. Only $148. Only $148 for that. That is a real fine collector piece. Now let's look at something a little different. 109-2022. Now, as I have mentioned at the beginning regarding that opportunity missed on the malachite cross for value worth, more than it's, worth more in the gold than by 2.5 times than what I was asking for it. Well, this is another one of those deals. If I don't sell it like it is to you guys, I don't know if I'll even put it in another show. I might, or maybe I'll just take it apart. I actually set this up. You can see it's not one of those prefab bales. I handmade that bale. You can see by the ring, and all for a larger chain. Different bale could be changed out. I'll give you a smaller amount of gold in trade. Look at the diamonds. I set this whole piece up, and so it was an estate piece, and from that same client a couple years ago. This actually goes back a couple years, and it didn't sell then, and I actually noticed I still had it. So I'm going to offer it at a super discount, but of course, again, it's going to be only, it can only go so low before I lose money. And I can see right now, if it weighs 3.20 grams, how easily it would be to lose money on this. Price on it? Only $328. Yeah, look at how big those diamonds are. And to give you an example or an idea, gold, I didn't calculate it out to the dollar, but roughly what it's going for in 14 karat now is about $45 a gram. All right, so those are raw, real numbers. 3.2 times 135 wow. Okay, so you're looking at something that has a gold value of over about $150. So about $150 of that price is actual melt value. In other words, scrap gold value, what you can get for the gold any day of the week. So that leaves you gorgeous diamonds for the difference. Look at that. That's a lot of value when you break it down that way. And no one is going to break out the value of the gold like I just did. It's just something not done, because it exposes all the numbers for you to disseminate. But at the prices I'm offering, I have no problem with you knowing exactly how that breaks down. Now, I want to show this piece as the clock is ticking on me. Item 1183824. 1183824. This is might have seen it before, but this is absolutely worth showcasing again. A stunning, world-class specimen of the highest of order for beauty, uniqueness. I don't know. There are so many adjectives. Simply world-class. Without a doubt. Look at this, is as attractive in person as you're seeing it there, with all these little alternating azurite and malachite pockets and veins and veinlets. And then let's see if the other side offers anything. Well, what about that, said Wilbur. That was Mr. Ed for those of you, the talking horse. Many of you have no idea what I just did. Look at that. Look at that. That is a specimen that looks, well, Mother Nature cannot be improved upon. Look at that. Look at that whole pocket, that whole emigule, that vesicle, that vug. Look at how far back. So with light and magnification, you could spend hours looking into the world that is this specimen alone. Look at that. Malachite and azurite have been around since the beginning of modern man. They're used for everything, for makeup, to dye, to using it to paint murals on walls, all kinds of uses. They're very similar chemically, but two very distinct, strong, beautiful colors. And let's go in just a little closer for a moment to show you some of the detail of the malachite. Look at that. So it's just not little blobs of green. These are all little botryoidal crystals, or portions of growth that are unique. Really, there. It's not fibrous. It's just look at that. And then back in these pockets. Then look at that. You have botryoidal, beautiful botryoidal malachite right there, back in there. That's what you classically see for just hanging out in the back of that little pocket that you wouldn't see unless you weren't looking for it. This is a one of a kind, and in a regular mineral dealer's offering, this specimen would cost a lot. Look at way back in there. Can you take us back in there for a second and just one last look? Look at that. Wow. And that looks like a larger crystal of azurite on the roof. Anyway, breathtaking, simply breathtaking. Price on this, I shouldn't do any discount on it. This will be, if I do, this is the last and only one I will do. And I'll bring it down to only, and that's only because I need tooth money. $348. $348 on that. Wait, hold on. That's the price I have. It should be. Here we go. I'm going to do this. It needs to sell. Make it $177. $177. And I'll regret that I didn't stick with. That's like half the price I just said. Wow. What happened in that moment? I didn't have Latif help and assist me on pricing. That's what happened. Let me show you item 119, 5424. Let me see what we have here. Oh, I'm getting nervous, I do. Oh, look at this. Let the good times roll. Wow, look at this. Yeah, you thought the fun was over with? No. Take a look. Ruby Jack sphalerite. Now, by that, I'll show you what I mean in a moment. This is from the anemone mine. I am familiar and have specimens from that I can count in my head, 5 different Peruvian mines that I'm familiar with. And this is another one of them. Over the years, I've had some stunning anemone specimens. I'll start speaking the little Spanish I know. Remember what I said about pyrite square? When you see a square right angles, you know it's pyrite versus chalcopyrite, because chalcos are found with it as well. You also have this unique colored quartz that the color has to doesn't have to be, but most likely is picking up iron from the pyrite. So the pyrite leaching out some of the iron, causing the yellow colors in the quartz. Also, the quartz has some unusual form to them as well. Then let's see. Oh, yes, fluorescence. That's what I wanted to say. Look at the back. Okay, here's another thing. You see this brassy color? That's going to be your chalcopyrite. That is going to be chalcopyrite. So you have chalcopyrite, pyrite. Look at your quartz crystals through here. But there is something special about the quartz. Look at all this beautiful quartz. Also, I think I saw a calcite crystal. Is that it? The quartz fluoresces. Yes, the quartz fluoresces. Even though I think, iron is a big quencher to fluorescence, but for some odd reason, the quartz fluoresces a light greenish type of color. And that is bizarre. So I didn't have enough time to do much more studying. You can see you have some clear quartz crystals among the yellowish ones. But let me show you what I meant by Ruby Jack. And let me see if I can just use this. Ruby Jack is a name given to sphalerite that has a red, a reddish, that's red, basically. Here we go, thank you. So let's see. There we go. If we catch the edge of, let me see if I can, where I find them. Thank you, sir. Hold on one second. Because there's such strong saturation of the sphalerite. Here it is. Here's a whole section through here. And let me move that, sorry. Or just iris down. Let me see if I can bring out the red in here. There is a streak of the red sphalerite that is, there we go, right there. You can see some, as I get my other hand, because once you know where it is, you know where to find it, and you believe me that it's actually there. So there, you can see a little crystal of it right there. But there's a lot more than just that. So I don't have the time to give you the full tour of it, but there is a lot more to the ruby jack part of the sphalerite. Other than that, here's your other sphalerite crystals that is chock full of regular darker sphalerite. But then there you go. You can see more ruby jack right there. When you see the reddish colors, then you're into that ruby jack color of sphalerite, which is also real desirable. So that is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful piece that would show off really well in a showcase. And I have it for only $68. And remember, fluorescent. So if you collect fluorescent minerals, remember what's on the cover of the Rock and Gem. And yeah, you'll get a big bang out of that. If you have not subscribed to Rock and Gem, then you need to, because it supports the industry. It's only $24 a year, and it has such great pictures and information. And I may write an article for them one day. Yeah, so let me we'll make this last item of the show, 118-3524. And speaking of Rock and Gem, here is a variety of the specimen that was on the cover. Pink Manganoan calcite. And this actually has quite a strong pink color. Let's see if we can show that to you. Yeah, you can see it a little bit more now. And believe me, the fluorescence, you can even see in my notes on it, this is also from the world-renowned Nika mine. N-A-I-C-A, rhyming with mica, but Nika mine, where the giant, Cave of Swords, the giant selenite crystals are from. The Nika mine is actually a series of multiple mines, but it's all one complex now. And stunning minerals have been discovered throughout the entire complex, including Manganoan calcite. So this is calcite that the manganese is not just a impurity causing the pink color and the strong fluorescence. It's actually part of its chemical formula. Therefore, and I won't ask this as a question, so I'll just give the answer. Therefore, as opposed to it being allochromatic and getting its color from an impurity that's not part of its chemical formula, it is idiochromatic because the manganese is actually part of, instead of CaCO3, calcium carbonate, it is CaMnCO3, calcium manganese carbonate. And so this has a nice, light, pleasant color. Let's go in close. You can see the dogtooth calcites on this. And that is what, as a specimen, is its strong suit, is these stunning, great condition dogtooth calcites, the scalenahedral. And a great name, dogtooth, because I guarantee you step on this thing and it'll feel like a big old dog bit you with some serious canines. And great name for those form of crystals. This fluoresces crazily. And then look at this. You have another white material. It looks like another form of calcite. Can never be too sure. Oh, also, this was on there when I got there. This is actually, I think, whiteout or something like it, that people that identify and mark their items will put on the specimen, but it's not so easily removed. I do not recommend using whatever this horrid stuff is. Just a side comment. So anyway, I see a nice pink to this that you'll see as well. Price on this, it is a stunning specimen, not only for the location, the color, the fact that it's a manganese, the fact that it's on the cover of the Rock and Gem magazine. Not this particular one, but manganese and Manganoan calcite is. Price on this, I tell you what, I'll do it for a discount. End with a sale price item and make it only $58. Only $58 on that. Let me see real quick if there was anything else I wanted to get in here real quick. We have other stuff, but you know what? You'll want to see some more stuff next week and the week after. We have a lot left to go moving forward. So we'll just end it there. I'll be right back with the trivia. Okay, so time for trivia. We hadn't done that in a couple weeks, so that should be fun. And it's not just trivia. So remember, you can leave comments. Even though we didn't do trivia this past week, you're certainly still welcome to participate in the show through comments and all, because I didn't have anything to read to you or from the in-between period from the last time I asked the trivia. So just want to let you know that, of course, you can drop a comment to me anytime on talk about anything, and including Miss Penny's wonderful trip, especially since she tied a story about rocks into her trip to, well, another part of her great country, with her living in Quebec. So when she takes off for Newfoundland and whatnot, not too terribly far away for her, areas I would love to go to because there's lots of rocks. I think one of the most amazing things, speaking about lots of rocks along with lots of ice, is Greenland's potential. Not only is it the type locality for a lot of other early discoveries, how they did that, I don't know. But, I mean, Greenland rubies, they tried to make a really big industry out of it. And sadly, I read the other day that all that promotion and hype that they went through, I actually saw the first discovery of, they actually had created a reality show, and it only went one season because during this reality show, and it seemed to be the real deal, they had all the permits, they actually found the rubies. It seemed like it was their discovery, and by the history of it I put together, it seemed like it was. And I had told Raven after seeing that I said, well, that's the end of their show. They'll never be able to mine those rubies after discovering them. And rightfully so, the government clawed back their discovery and, sold it off to a private Greenland company and made it more about Greenland, which it needed to have been. I'm sure that they were compensated for their discovery. But now the Greenland ruby situation, it just goes to show you that you can find a massive, wonderful deposit of gemstones, something that only, someone like me dreams about finding. And that even with money poured into it, even with backers, that you can go $35 million into debt and never achieve a profit, never see your discovery come to fruition if the goal was to monetize the ruby deposit. And there certainly were facet grade rubies, some beautiful rubies. And I don't know, I guess it helped me not to be so green, not to have so much envy for others' discoveries. I'll be satisfied with my own little gold discovery in my backyard or my garnet in the mica schist. But yeah, when I'd been following the company since they discovered the rubies and the history of the Greenland ruby, and they developed a line of jewelry. They tried to market it as a nationalized product that they could be proud of, and it just never took off. It never took off. So, gold is where you find it, as well as rubies. And finding the greatest discovery of your lifetime doesn't necessarily mean that it's ever going to bring you the riches that so many people long for from such discoveries. Rather, discover the things for your own personal self-joy and look at it as a gift from the universe and Mother Nature to be appreciated just as it is. Realize that, when you're in a foreign country and you discover something that is of national interest to the country that you're mining on, that you may not be able to keep it in the end. So anyway, that said, I have a few questions for you. Trivia. Let's do some trivia. I'm making up 3 questions, but they're easy. So that's why I'm not only making up for the missed week, but keeping it easy enough. All right, question 1. Well, what I think is easy, right? So, what other arsenic ore did I mention while I was discussing orpiment? Okay, so I'm already giving you the time frame. And remember, no going back and watching the show after you hear the question. So, what other arsenic ore? Ore being O-R-E. So, let's just put it this way. What other arsenic mineral did I mention when I was discussing orpiment? So there's another primary mineral that is mined for the arsenic in it. And I did mention it. What is the name of it? Because those two you really need to know. One goes with the other. All right. Second question. What is the pegmatite gem producing area in India known as? So what is the pegmatite gem producing area in India known as? And it actually, over the name that I used, they actually, like they have in, changed Bombay to Mumbai, they changed them back, a lot of them, to their pre-colonial names. So it may sound, I got to be careful or I'll give it away. So it sounds very similar to what the name was that I had said. But this area was well known to produce all kinds of different gems and minerals, a lot of garnets, and a lot of the, let me see if that's good. No. A lot of the alexandrites that we saw years ago came from that area, whereas now, more recently, last several years, they're also mining that quality alexandrites in Tanzania, which Tanzania has been a source, but the color change hasn't been what we always kind of think of as a kind of a greenish to reddish or anywhere in those range. But they have found some new deposits that closer mimic what we think of as the classic color change for alexandrite. So, what is that region in India that produces not only alexandrites, but also a lot of other gemstones that are found in pegmatites? Now, remember, a pegmatite is a group of minerals that entails quartz, mica, and feldspar. And those three found together, often you can find tourmalines, beryl, many other minerals once you find those three associated with it. So, and that's what's referred to as a pegmatite. Third question, name the family alexandrite belongs to. Yep, it's not something that I didn't mention it today in all of our discussion of alexandrite, since it was most likely a trivia envy prize today, being the free alexandrite crystals from Brazil. But I didn't mention the family that alexandrite belongs to. What is it? All right, those are the three questions. Can't wait to see you again next Monday. And I am greatly appreciative for your understanding and patience for the missed week. And I really can't help but to continue to thank you for your very generous, kind, and loving support for this show for as long as we have been going. So may it continue on, and may we live long and prosper. God bless all of you. And hey, school's in, cooler weather here in Georgia. Can't get better than that when you're 63. Cheers. See you Monday.